Imagine a country that doesn't just earn money, but actually controls how money moves around the world. A single note, called the US dollar, before which even the world's largest economies tend to bend. This is not just the story of America's economy, it's the story of power, strategy, and the biggest financial game ever played. After World War II, much of the world was left in ruins. European cities were destroyed, factories were shut down, and economies were struggling to survive. But the United States stood strong. In 1944, global leaders gathered for a meeting known as the Bretton Woods Agreement. There, a historic decision was made. The US dollar would become the world's global reserve currency. International trade would be conducted in dollars, and the dollar itself would be backed by gold. That single decision placed America at the very center of the global financial system. At first, every US dollar was tied directly to gold. But in 1971, the United States made a decision that would change financial history forever. President Richard Nixon announced that the dollar would no longer be backed by gold. From that moment on, the dollar ran purely on trust. This gave America a massive advantage: the ability to print money whenever needed. For wars, for economic stimulus, for rescuing failing banks, money was no longer a limitation. Many people believe the US government controls America's money supply, but the real power lies with the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve determines interest rates, manages inflation, and influences how strong or weak the dollar remains. When the Federal Reserve raises interest rates, it doesn't just impact the United States. Stock markets across the entire world react. A single decision in Washington can send shockwaves through global financial markets. This raises an important question. The United States carries debt worth trillions of dollars, yet it never seems to collapse. The reason is simple. America's debt is issued in the same currency that it prints itself. Countries like China, Japan, and Saudi Arabia lend money to the United States because global trade and national reserves depend on the dollar. In many ways, even the lenders are dependent on the very system they are financing. Oil is traded in dollars. International business runs on dollars. Loans from institutions like the IMF and World Bank are issued in dollars. If a country attempts to step outside of the system, it often faces economic sanctions, a collapsing currency, and intense financial pressure. This is why the dollar is not just a currency, it has become a powerful economic weapon. Today, the global landscape is slowly changing. China is promoting its currency, the yuan. BRICS nations are exploring trade without relying on the dollar. Cryptocurrencies have also emerged as an alternative. Yet history shows that as long as the world depends on American markets and the US economy, replacing the dollar will not be easy. In the end, it's important to understand that America's financial system isn't just about money. It's about control. The dollar isn't just a piece of paper, it represents a blend of global trust and global fear. The real question is whether this system will break in the future or become even more powerful. Only time will tell.